Hey, how's it going? For the past 8 years, I've been the person to constantly find myself evolving, to every day be somebody different from year to month, to day, to hour. I work on myself consistently all the time. Now, this is actually the key to me growing so fast, me evolving. This is the key to me getting so good at games so fast. It's the fact that I self-audit. I'm constantly looking at myself and thinking, what am I doing wrong? How can I fix my habits? How can I fix my personality? How can I fix the way that I express myself? What kind of emotional context am I putting over the top of things that are unnecessary? How am I burning up energy where I don't need to burn the energy? How would my 10 out of 10 version of myself handle today differently than I would? What would he do better than I did? How would he have handled this in a way that would have been more productive? So this is the way that I look at it. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what a self-audit is, or you haven't been following my Facebook, self-audit is the idea that you can sit down with a pen and paper and you try to work out the scenarios in your head, the different stuff that you can improve upon. So I'm gonna give you guys some examples of that in this video. Oftentimes it comes down to wanting to change your personality. Now, the first and foremost, you wanna look at, for you specifically, who is this 10 out of 10 version of yourself? Now, like I've always said, the external is a reflection of the internal. If you wanna be somebody that receives money, that gets the women, that gets all the things that you want, you have to change who you are. You have to change the way that you express yourself to the world so you get in return what you want. Now, what kind of a person, what is this 10 out of 10 version that's gonna get you your desired result? What does this guy look like? I know what it looks like for me because I've thought this through for years and I thought this through in so many different ways. And I will break it down in this video in the very beginning. But for you specifically, who is this 10 out of 10 version of yourself? Now, look at it this way. This 10 out of 10 version of you, for me, for anybody that does this, it should be a blueprint that can be constantly evolved and worked upon. It's not like a solid set in stone kind of a personality. For me, I constantly am like refining and working towards a more like specific and like descriptive version of this 10 out of 10 version. Like I have more of like a visual like centerpiece in my head, like this view of what this guy looks like, this version of myself 5 years from now. I kind of have an idea of where I'm supposed to be moving to. Now because I have a target, now I can move myself in the direction of that target. What kind of knowledge does he have? What does he know? What are his habits? What are the general emotions that are going through his body? How quick-witted is he? How charismatic is he? How charismatic does he have to be? What is it that ultimately this guy's gonna be that I am not? Now, for a lot of you guys, this is what you need to figure out. What do you want and who do you have to be to get it? Now from here, now you have a target. Now you can use the self-audits to look at your day, to look at your life in general and move yourself in this general direction. The point of the self-audit is to close the gap between him and you, to make it to where this person you are now and this person you want to be gets there a lot faster and actually becomes inevitable. Now for you, your 10 out of 10 version is going to be completely different. Well, not necessarily completely different. In general, you want to make it for your desired outcome. My desired outcome is to be one of the best in this that ever lived. All right, the best at dating, at self-development, at generally this kind of a field, and I want to be very recognized as one of the big players in this field. So what does the guy that's going to get me there look like? What is his vehicle, his personality? What are his habits? Who is he? All right, with that being said, let's get into the video.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living.
Now, my 10 out of 10 version, first and foremost, never does negative self-talk. He doesn't need to. Now, negative self-talk is a huge killer of energy. When you're beating yourself up and you don't have that confidence, it's tough to like tell yourself, hey, I'm gonna go get that. Because if you don't believe you can get something, you're going to self-sabotage. The same way that you'll approach a cute girl and then you're like, and you can't find the words to say things. Like instead of like when you can approach like a girl that's just cute, now you can like talk on for days and be really clever. However, when you talk to that beautiful, gorgeous girl, you don't have the confidence behind it. The negative self-talk kills you, especially when you have to get to that higher place. Do you think The Rock Johnson is like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is like this super timid guy who's always beating himself up? Fuck no. No, like you can get yourself to a better place by beating yourself up, but it's so rough on your body, so rough on your psyche, and it's not worth it. The best way to actually do something is to draw yourself to it, like to pull yourself to it with fun and like excitement, doing something you love. He's going to put focus on what he does have control over and not what he doesn't. Now, this is victim mentality versus like the self-confidence kind of mentality, like the self-empowered. I'm not going to focus on things that I don't have control over. Like, am I going to pay attention to, I don't know, maybe I can like look at a situation and be like, how can I prevent that in the future? But when I beat myself up over it, it doesn't help out. Like a lot of guys, like they look at their past and they're like, I can't do this because my past. I can't do this or be this person because my past is preventing me from doing this, or some unknown kind of situation. They're focusing on the wrong thing, or better yet, focusing on failure. I used to do this all the time. I used to constantly worry, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail. And this is why it took me so long to even get this YouTube channel off the ground, to get myself a bit of a following, get people listening to me. Because I was constantly freaking out and beating myself up about how I'm gonna fail and I'm being an idiot for chasing this. Instead, if I just stopped focusing on that and focused on, things like, making better video content, maybe, getting better in field, like maybe like just working on myself, my quick-witted kind of mentalities, like this kind of stuff, I could have spent a lot more energy in instead of putting my energy, my focus on things that don't help me out. Focus goes, energy flows. Focus on the things you want, not the things you don't want. Now, the next thing I know is that I have limits, and I know that my 10 out of 10 version will have these same exact limits. So, for example, I have limited willpower, and I'll never have an infinite amount of willpower. The way you can hack this, though, is, like I said, find something you love doing. So if you're doing something you love, you don't have to burn willpower doing it. I mean, on occasion, I have to do some stupid shit that, is just so fucking boring, and I gotta push my way through. But for the most part, 75% to 80% of everything I do is just a lot of fucking fun. Me sitting here on camera talking to you fuckers. It's a lot of fun. Me like editing my video afterwards. I'm actually really excited to edit this video once I'm done. I'm gonna go smoke hookah. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna be like all in the zone working on this. Then tomorrow I'm gonna work with a client and I'm gonna have a lot of fun going out and approaching girls. 80% of everything I do, I love doing. That 20%, I gotta burn that willpower, but it's 20% of everything I'm doing. It makes it a lot easier when it's a smaller percentage. Now, instead, if I viewed this as work, ultimately, I'd be burning the willpower. I'd be like, oh no, force yourself, trudge your way through, come on, keep pushing. And then like, I would just like burn the willpower. Like, so this is actually a really good example. Now, for a lot of you guys are like trying to eat healthier. You guys don't want to eat your breads, don't eat your fucking sugars. You don't want to like drink alcohol. You know what the best way to prevent yourself from doing something like this is? Just don't put yourself in the presence of it to begin with. You go to an Italian place, essentially like when they put the bread in front of you, tell them, I don't want the bread on the table. Thank you, man, I appreciate it. Because, if it's sitting in front of you, it's gonna be tempting you, burning your willpower little by little. Now you don't have to worry about it. Now it's not in front of you. Now it's not burning your willpower. Now, another limit that people don't ever take into account is that you can only build so many habits at the same time. And people will get frustrated themselves because they'll fall off of one habit, and they're like, oh, and then all their other habits fall apart. You can only build so many habits at the same time, 1 to 2 at most. So like somebody that's smoking, for example, if you want to quit smoking, you better not be building any new habits whatsoever. I'd be eating junk food. I'd be doing stupid shit. Like if like those were my habits, I wouldn't be building any new habits. My whole focus and all my willpower would be going into teaching myself not to smoke. Now, the same way, you build 1 to 2 habits at a time. You can't build any more. If you try to build any more, honestly, you're going to burn yourself up and you're just going to keep fumbling the ball and you're going to like start up with a more negative self-talk. So one thing at a time, and then hammer it the fuck home, knock it out. Now, the next thing that I know is limited about me is that my personality is not going to change all at once. It's going to be kind of a slow moving kind of thing. I can't change into this 10 out of 10 version of me overnight. This is the reason why. Now, I have habits and I have all these personal beliefs that I think that I've backed up. Society has taught me these beliefs over a period of time, and I'm brainwashed to believe things that are probably not helping me out. So not even just that either. It's like your hierarchy in your brain is going to tell you when you're worthy of doing something. So on occasion, what you're going to have to do is to like kind of get yourself to this next level is you're going to have to, okay, so these are the new personality traits that I'm going to take on. Okay, cool. We're going to start maybe stepping a little bit in that direction. Okay, you're fighting your habits. Your habits are like, no, you're not this person. You're like, yes, I am. Now what happens? You hold this out, but your friends slough off because you're being like too out of their league now and they get a little bit freaked out by you. So what happens is then your world starts reflecting to you what you are. So now you're becoming a little bit cooler. Now the world around you becomes a little cooler. Cool. Then you move a little bit further. And then it happens again. The world starts reflecting slowly that you're this person. Now it takes a while for like your world to start reflecting who you are now. Like for me currently, my world is moving very fast and it's taken a while for it to reflect back to me who I am now, but it is slowly starting to do this. And I can see like the momentum building. I can see the wheels turning. And I know it's because of who I am and what I'm expressing. People on this level see this. They see that you're like a high vibration kind of person. They want to be around that. They see that I'm a very empathetic, authentic person. And they see that I'm a person of talent. So when they see this kind of stuff, they see that I'm actually this, the world will start reflecting back to me what I am. Now, this is what you got to do yourself. You got to slowly start teaching yourself that you are actually this person. When the world's not reflecting back to you that you are the person you're trying to present yourself as, it's kind of tough to be like, I already am this person. Like I'm already this 10 out of 10 person, just become it overnight. The habits, the world reflecting back to you, these kind of things will hold you back because habits take a long time to like break up. So this is something I know about myself. It's like peeling an onion. It's gonna take some time. I just gotta be persistent and never give up. Here's the final point about my limits. You are absolutely contagious, and people are contagious to you too. If you hang around losers, you become a loser. If you hang around somebody cool, you become cool. If you're making yourself susceptible to cultures and ideals that are going to slow you down, you need to cut them the fuck out. You cannot be putting yourself in these negative mind states, these places that are going to hold you down. You have to be surrounding yourself with cultures that are positive. I don't watch the news. The news is it makes me too anxious. I'm naturally, my negative habit, my negative bad emotion that I'm addicted to is anxiety and fear. So I can't watch the news. I don't watch it. I leave it alone. It's not for me to know. And honestly too, does it help me out knowing that there's some hurricane in Haiti or something like that? Not really. Does it help me knowing that there's like some fire in the Amazon? Nah, not really. I can do so much more help for the world if I just keep my focus here. So I'm gonna do absolutely that. Now, if you guys don't know what negative emotions are, they're anger, they are stress, they are jealousy. They're essentially emotions that will drain you of your energy. Anxiety will constantly in your head, it burns you up. Have you ever been like so sad, so like depressed that you just can't get out of bed because you're just so tired? These emotions drain you and they kill your energy. If you want to have a lot of energy to work a lot of hours, you cannot have these emotions in you. You got to just fucking rip them out. All right, so this again is a habit. It takes time and you have to prove this to yourself that it's good. Now, the best thing to do, like we said before, is to make it around you where the culture of people that are around you are nothing but positive. So in this way, whenever you're negative, you stick out like a sore thumb. Now, because your people in your tribe around you are positive and nothing but upbeat, now you start learning it yourself. All right, so who's this 10 out of 10 version of myself? Now, first and foremost, he's empathetic because people can see the authenticity behind me. You guys can see when I actually care about you. You can see when I'm saying something that I really believe in. Now, this is gonna help me out a lot in the long haul. If I'm trying to be deceiving or deceptive in a way, people will see that. And it's just a lot easier for me to become it. Like, how easy is it for me like to become like, you know, some self-help guy when I actually am really good at this? Like, it's a lot easier for me to do that than to fake it. Like the people that are on that level that will see this, they'll see that I actually know what I'm talking about. It clicks very fast. You guys will be able to see that. So my 10 out of 10 version is very empathetic and caring about others, and he really wants the best for others. So when I actually work with a client, I actually get him results because I actually want him to improve, because I care about him. And the next one is pure abundance. And I mean abundance in every which way. I mean abundance with women, friends, with business partners, with money, like with my life in general. Like, I'm 100% certain that I will never run out of these things and these items. Now, I used to always constantly worry about the women, worry about the friends. And when I came around my friends, I'd be needy, or when I was talking to girls, I'd be needy, or when I would, money was actually the most recent thing I came into abundance with. I'd be freaking out about not having money, even when I had money. I'd be like, oh no, the money's gonna leave or something like that, and I won't have clients. And it's like, the second that I just like relaxed off that, now I can actually focus on my business. It's just pointless for me to focus on things that I don't have control over. And in all honesty too, if I believe I have abundance in these things, when I'm on like a consultation call with the client senses the confidence and the positive vibes. And not to mention the women sense that I'm less, like I have less baggage. And they're like, this guy's a boss, and they'll be more likely to talk to me. There's so many benefits to being pure abundance. And it's a tough kind of fix. Again, you gotta slowly change these things over time, which I'll get into this over like in the next part. Basically, in the next part, I'll be talking about how to bring out your personality, how to change your personality slowly, and the little tricks that I use. And I'll teach you how to use the pen and paper, how to use pen and paper to figure out your life and to break this down and to move yourself closer to this person every fucking day. Okay, now into the pen and paper. Now, when you're sitting down and you're trying to make yourself this 10 out of 10 version of yourself, when you're auditing yourself and being like, how would this 10 out of 10 person handle the day differently than I did? Sit down with yourself and look at a few things. So for me, obviously, I want to cut negative emotions out of my life because they slow my energy down. Now, more than likely, you need to do the same thing. I cannot see you having some purpose in your life where you're going to be more negative. So do this. Anytime you have some negative emotion or like anger, sadness, stress, anything in your life pop up, nip it in the butt, realize where it's coming from, and notice pinpoint the source. So for example, I'm gonna go into like a few of my own simple audits. I'm gonna give you guys some examples. So for example, one of my audits like probably a month ago was that I realized when people hold the door open for me, I would get a little bit annoyed with them because then I have to rush to like get through the door instead of like taking my time. Now for me, I felt like I had to rush because I was taking up the other person's time. But this person is giving me the gift of their time and their generosity. Why am I gonna ruin that by being stressed out? So instead, I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna walk up to the door and I'm gonna thank the person when they open the door, and I'm just gonna be generous. I'm gonna be grateful. If the person himself was to get annoyed that I take my time, Again, his emotions are not mine to control. He needs to learn how to control his own emotions better. In that case, that's his thing, not mine. And I don't need to like let the emotions rub off on me. So this is what I realized. Now I don't get, stressed out when somebody holds the door open for me. Now look to how you can logically improve. Now, logically is like, like what can you do from your own point of view, from what you know, from like what we just talked about, to like improve your day. For example, like the habits, like which habit is going to get you the furthest in the shortest period of time? Did you fall off your habit? Why did you fall off? Is it because you forgot? For me, I have reminders all around my house because I'm very forgetful, because I audited my days and I logically was like, why do I fall off my habits? And I'm like, because I forget. So now there's notes all over my like stuff, like literally right on the camera right here. You guys can't see this. It says you're talking to one person. So I always have it where I fall off and I end up talking to, you guys as a group instead of you, the person who's watching this video, as an individual. So I have it right here on the camera. So it reminds me constantly to do this instead of me like, oh, I'm on the camera and now I got to remember, and I got 100 different things I got to remember all at the same time. Like I'm going to fucking possibly do that. No, like I audited this and I figured that out. So now I got sticky notes everywhere around my room, around my place, around my house, on my phone. And I even got my intern telling me that when I'm like falling off and I'm forgetting about shit. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna get into some more examples of like self-audits that I've done. I've been doing this for a while. So I pulled up some like different notes that I've done recently. All right, so for example, like I go out to go pick up girls all the time. It's my other job. I used to have negative assumptions towards men in mixed sets, which means in groups of women and guys, thinking that they would hate me when I approach. Now, from this point, I would usually have bad interaction with guys and I have to literally like kind of like combat them in a way. But now, instead of me having negative assumptions, now I automatically assume they're already my friends. So when I approach, now if they were to act any which way, like in a way that's not very friendly, I'd be kind of weirded out. And the girls would read this vibe and they'd be like, yeah, this is kind of weird. This guy's kind of being douchey, because the guy that approached us being super fucking friendly and cool. So now this guy's being douchey. My friend needs to like fucking stop being an asshole. So then usually the girls will kind of like, be on my side over their own friend's side. But most of the time, because you have this mindset, most of the guys will be really fucking cool with you because you're assumptive. You assume they're already your friend, you act as if. So that was a really good little reframe for me. Another thing was that I found when I get tired, I get cranky. And I realized the reason I get cranky is because I feel the need to perform to a standard that I can't, at a standard that when I'm really awake. So like right now I'm tired. I could feel the need to like really perform at a 10 out of 10 state, but I honestly can't. Now, if I fixate on that and then I make myself cranky and grumpy, then the camera and the footage doesn't come out that great. Instead of me just accepting it and doing the best I can in the moment. Now I don't get cranky when I'm tired. Now I'm just kind of like at a very static, just like I just got a good little energy going on. My energy doesn't dip at all. Now this one is more just an audit on my game in general about things that I can improve upon. One of them is becoming a vacuum of validation and qualification. So instead of me qualifying, telling people why I'm so awesome, instead I just assume being awesome, and then people assume it from there because I'm never qualifying, because what do most people do? They qualify. So I started doing that, and I'm doing a lot more now than I used to, being a harder closer. So oftentimes, like if a girl likes me, making it look like she's not a slut, being a little bit more of the masculine dominating kind of leading type. Have stories planned. So instead of me just running out of things to say, now I have some stories planned. Now I can pull that shit out of my ass. So some of you guys are like, what do I run out of things to say all the time? Well, what could you do to not run out of things to say? Pre-plan things to say. It's a very logical fix for a lot of you guys. So how do I not run out of things to say? Plan some shit out. Make some lists for yourself. All right, now again, as we discussed, changing your personality takes a lot of time, and it's pretty difficult to kind of move yourself in this direction, especially when you have a character that's very well developed around being who you are. You don't want to change this because you're scared. You're scared of what your friends are going to think, what people around you are going to think. And honestly, this comes from a lack of self-confidence and an internal locus of control, because if people don't like you, then you won't like you. And you need that's something you need 110% fix, which again, personality fix, it takes some time, takes a while. But if somebody's unwilling to let you change, they're not your friend. They're not in this for your best interest. They're trying to hold you down so they don't feel insignificant in comparison to you. It's kind of fucked up people do this to begin with. For you specifically, don't listen to them. They're not trying to help you out. They're trying to hold you down. Now, what are some tricks to change your personality a little bit faster than simply auditing your day and trying to fix your habits little by little? Now, one of the tricks I do is called swinging the pendulum. So let's say you're too nice and you know that your 10 out of 10 version of yourself has the ability to also be more of a boss on occasion, to be more of a man, to tell people when they're not doing something he really likes, to be very shirk. Now, if this was the case, if you were a client of mine, what I'd do is I'd make you go all the way into the opposite spectrum. I'd tell you to be an asshole for the night, your version of an asshole. Now, what's going to happen is, because you're being an asshole, you're probably going to find your middle ground, and you're going to be more of like a well-rounded human being. It's gonna break your ego of you being the nice guy. So like this is one strategy you could use called swinging the pendulum. If you have a personality trait that you don't like, go to the opposite end of the spectrum and be that guy for a little bit, because this will even you out a lot. Now the next one is idolize your opposite. Now this is something that you can do to just kind of learn about yourself a little more, and also to learn about other ways of being. So like I said, you can idolize somebody that's like a player instead of you that's a provider. Maybe you're too much of a provider with women. So now you can teach yourself to be the player, so you can get both sides of the fence, so you can be more engaging with the girl. Now you're looking at actors, now you're looking at movie stars. I look at a lot of rock stars and I'm like, man, that guy right there, he's a total badass and I want to be that. Now I'm idolizing it. Now I move more in that direction. Maybe I look at a rapper. Maybe I look at some like movie star or something like that, or some TV character like Hank Moody. I'll look at Hank Moody and be like, that's somebody I could really enjoy being. And I start moving myself in the direction of that personality. Now I idolize him. Now because I'm idolizing, I'm hacking that part of my brain that says, if you learn how to do this, you'll get love from the tribe. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about here, go check out my last video. It talks a lot about how to understand you. This explains this concept completely, but basically idolize who you want to be. You also want to change the culture around you. So if you want to be something, you got to change the culture. You got to change, like, so for example, for me, I wanted to be a salesman for a while because, you know, I had to make money and I had to keep the roof over my head. So I started watching a lot of Wolf of Wall Street. I started hanging around people that did nothing but sales and like that were just absolutely obsessed with sales. Now, because I did this, my entire culture is based around being an amazing salesman. Now I became a good salesman. Do the same thing. If you want to become something, hang around it. Like immerse yourself in the culture of being good at that. It'll make it a lot easier for you to do it. So like if you want to get good at game, what I always tell people, get around the culture of game. Be around a lot of guys that approach. Listen to me, watch my videos, watch a lot of other videos that make it really easy for you to approach, that help you break this shit down, stuff like that. Now, something you also should be looking at are traumas that are holding you back. Now, for me, for example, I didn't realize how much that my high school and like me being alone really kind of drove me. I still have a hard time being by myself because when I was a kid, I was alone for so long, it was really painful and I still feel that pain body. Now that I'm an adult, I can look at that and be like, well, it was fucking high school, man. Like none of that really matters anymore. Now I was able to let go of it. Now it's not such a big deal for me. Now I can realize how ridiculous it is because I never looked at it. Honestly, it was so painful when I was a little kid that I just didn't look at it. Now that I'm like actually like more of an adult and I can look at this now I can be like, well, that's a stupid ideal. Now a lot of the mindsets that were kind of wrapped up in this that like made me do a lot of stupid shit, like being needy, now they're cut loose. Now I can be more me. The last thing I want to get into is visualization. You want to visualize this person you want to be. Now, for example, for me, when it came down to it, when I used to go and approach back in my hometown in Sacramento, California, I would go and approach girls. And I remember that there was like a certain type of approach that I would have where like the girls would just really like me. It was that excitement, that sexual excitement. And every time I did this, the girls would hook so fucking like fast and so hard. And so what I started doing, I started visualizing this approach. And I'd be like, hey, what's your name? And I would, like, even right now I can pull this up. You see that? And every time I say this, hey, what's your name? Like every time, you see how fucking engaging that is? Every time I do this approach, they would light up. So what I started doing, I visualized this approach until it was second nature. You guys need to do the same things with you. There's certain things that you might have mindsets around that are like maybe you're getting needy with your coworkers, maybe needy with a specific girl in general. Visualize. Your brain has a hard time distinguishing between reality and visualization. And you can actually hack into this hierarchical, like this biological hierarchy that you have in your head too. So like approaching a hot girl and then imagining the girl being super into you. And then like what do you start doing? You start expressing this to the girl that she should be into you. It's a frame battle. And the girl's like, oh, so girls are usually into him. You know what? I think he's kind of sexy. Now because you're like this, now because you're assuming the positive, the girl gets drawn the fuck in. All right, guys, and with that being said, peace out.
Business ain't nothing you gotta see. How you all up in my shit when you got more problems than me? Yeah, I'm cool, but you don't wanna see that other side of me. And my niggas mobbing depot, I'm a fucking prodigy. I know that you been envy, bitch, it ain't that hard to see. Don't you dare go fix your mouth and tell me that you proud of me. Ain't no choice to me but loyalty, feel me.